Manhattan said goodbye on Thursday, and the room that gathered at Frank E. Campbell Funeral Chapel on the Upper East Side, the same chapel that has held the farewells of some of the most significant figures in American cultural life, was exactly what Clive Davis deserved: extraordinary, historic, overflowing with the specific, irreplaceable kind of love that only 6 decades of making other people's dreams come true can generate. Clive Davis died on Monday, June 22, 2026, at his Manhattan home. He was 94 years old. His family's statement said it completely. To the world, our father was the iconic music legend whose vision, instincts, and relentless pursuit of excellence shaped the soundtrack of countless lives. He discovered, mentored, and championed the greatest artists in modern music history, leaving an indelible mark on culture that will endure for generations. And on Thursday, those artists came. All of them, or as many as could get to New York in time. Because when the man who believed in you before the world did is laid in a casket, you get on a plane. The open casket was set at the front of the room, and the people who filed past it were not filing past a music executive. They were filing past the specific decision, the yes, the phone call, the signing, the late-night listening session that changed the trajectory of their lives. Barry Manilow stood before the casket and could not hold himself together. The man who wrote that Clive heard something in him before he heard it himself stood in front of the man who heard it and felt the full, permanent weight of a gratitude that now has nowhere to go. No more phone calls, no more lunches, no more pre-Grammy parties where Clive would pull him aside and say something that made the whole room make sense again. Barry Manilow said, "Clive Davis was my mentor, my champion, my dear friend. Without him, there is no Barry Manilow as the world knows him. I am heartbroken." He said that, in the room, in front of the casket, in front of the people who had been there for the same thing, who had their own version of the story, their own moment when Clive Davis looked at them and said yes, and who understood completely what Barry Manilow meant. Bruce Springsteen was there. The man who was signed to Columbia under Clive's leadership in the early 1970s, who might have been one of many promising young artists who passed through a major label and faded, without the specific, unwavering championship of an executive who understood that some artists require patience that the quarterly earnings sheet does not reward. He stood in that room with the full weight of what Clive Davis's belief in him actually built. The career, the catalog, the decades of music that will outlast everyone in that chapel. And he paid his respects the way a man pays respects to someone he owes a debt that cannot be repaid, with complete, honest presence. Martha Stewart was in that room, the woman who moved in the same rarefied spaces of American cultural life as Clive Davis for decades, who attended his legendary pre-Grammy parties, the annual gathering that became one of the most coveted invitations in the music industry, who knew him not as a fan but as a peer, as someone who understood from the inside what it meant to see talent before the market had priced it. She described the room as something she had never experienced before. Not a funeral, a gathering of the most extraordinary collection of human beings that American music has produced in the last 60 years, all of them carrying the same thing. The story of the moment Clive Davis changed their life, and the specific, irreplaceable grief of knowing that the man at the center of all those stories was in the casket at the front of the room. Alicia Keys, who launched her career with J Records, the label Clive Davis founded in 2000 specifically because he heard her demo and knew. Her debut album Songs in a Minor sold more than 10 million copies and won 5 Grammy Awards. She was 20 years old, and the man who made the call is now in a casket in Manhattan. She was there because of course she was there. The family of Whitney Houston was represented, because Whitney Houston is woven into the Clive Davis story in a way that cannot be separated. He discovered her at 19. He guided her to 7 consecutive #1 singles. He was one of the last people to see her alive, 2 days before she died in a Beverly Hills hotel on the night of his pre-Grammy party in 2012. He said she was vital, optimistic, looking forward to the future. The loss of Whitney Houston was one of his greatest heartbreaks, and the people who loved her came to honor the man who loved her too. The pre-Grammy party, the institution he built that became more famous than most of the awards it preceded. The event where he would debut new artists alongside established legends and make the room feel like the center of everything that mattered in music. He hosted it well into his 90s. At 92, at 93, still the man with the golden ears, still the sharpest person in the room about what was going to work and what wasn't, still the person that every artist wanted to impress at a showcase, still the standard by which the entire industry measured its own taste. One longtime executive said of him, Clive was never willing to give up. No matter how tough or intractable a problem was, he always believed there was a solution. There was always a solution, until Monday morning in Manhattan, when the solution ran out, and the golden ears went quiet. He was born in Crown Heights, Brooklyn on April 4, 1932. He lost both parents before finishing his undergraduate degree. He attended NYU on a full scholarship, graduated magna cum laude, and then graduated from Harvard Law. He entered music through the legal side door, and within a decade was president of Columbia Records. Janis Joplin, Bruce Springsteen, Carlos Santana, Aretha Franklin, who called him the greatest record man of all time, Whitney Houston, Billy Joel, Barry Manilow, Rod Stewart, Dionne Warwick, Luther Vandross, Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Kelly Clarkson, Jennifer Hudson, Alicia Keys, Patti Smith. That list is not a roster. It is a century of American music compressed into one man's decisions, into one set of ears that heard what nobody else heard yet, into one voice that said yes when the whole industry was still asking whether. He earned 5 Grammy Awards. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a non-performer in 2000. He founded the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music at NYU. He wrote 2 autobiographies. He hosted his pre-Grammy party every year for decades. And on Thursday afternoon in a chapel on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, the people whose careers he built, whose dreams he championed, whose voices he put before the world, came to stand before his casket and do the only thing left available to them: say thank you in person one last time. Barry Manilow said it for all of them. Without him, there is no Barry Manilow as the world knows him. Multiply that sentence by every artist on that list, and you begin to understand the size of what that room was holding on Thursday. Clive Davis, April 4, 1932, June 22, 2026, aged 94. The greatest record man of all time. Aretha said so, and Aretha was never wrong. Rest in peace, Clive. Thank you for watching.